You know what, Cody?
What's that, sir?
I just realized, after doing 2 episodes of this podcasting, I am one weird individual.
Oh, you're just realizing that now, are you? It's something I've known all along, my friend.
Conceited Conceptions, episode number 3. Let's get it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the show, episode 3 of Conceited Conceptions. I am Kema, also known as Kema the Dilemma, and with me I have my dude,
Cody, Ghost, Boy Wonder, whatever you like.
And there it is. So, to get right into the show, no opening pleasantries, we are getting right to it this time. We would usually have it where we would have the 2 questions that we're posing, so the intro question or the icebreaker, and then we would go into more of the serious topic question. But due to the conversation that we had last week, we're just going to basically put a bow on last week's show with this show that we're going to do today. So it's going to be the exact same topic. We're just going to get a little more in-depth into the whole idea of me, apparently, wasting girls' time at the club.
Evidently, I think would have been a better word than apparently.
Once again, as I said last week, damn you. Now, let's get into this show. Actually, first, imagine I'm doing this once again. So last week I actually missed a topic that I wanted to speak on, which it actually had to do with the initial or the icebreaking question that I asked on the first podcast that we did. So we were talking about the whole idea of, would you take $1 million to never have sex again in your life? And your answer was?
You're sick. I don't need $1 million.
And my answer was that I would take the million in a heartbeat. It was actually ironic. After after we did that podcast, I was actually on Instagram. I think it was like probably 2 days after we did that podcast. And
Tell me you had an epiphany.
No.
And disappointment riles through my body once again.
It's actually not an epiphany. I actually just did some pretty basic research, because there was a fitness model that I follow on Instagram. She posted basically the same question that I posed to you. Her question, and she actually upped the ante. She said, would you take $800 million to never have sex in your life again? For that question, what would you answer?
No. Why are we doing this shit again?
Hey, it's the difference between 1 million and 800 million. There's a huge discrepancy between the 2 numbers.
No, there's not. Not in this sense. There really isn't.
Okay, so based off of her responses that she got, so 51 people responded. Well, there was more. I just took the ones who actually addressed the damn question. Mm-hmm. Out of 51 people, 32 said that they would take the money.
They're full of shit. You want to know why they're saying they'll take the money?
Please.
Because the money's not in front of them right now. All of a sudden they have to make that decision for real. They're going to be like, okay, so I get 800 million and my woolly never gets wet again. And I'm going to need some more time to think about this. I believe I may have spoke too soon. And then they're going to sit there and they're going to think about it and think to themselves, what is 800 million worth if I can't enjoy life in that particular way? And I believe that most people's answer will be, never mind, I've changed my mind.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't believe...
Especially guys. And the reason for that is, think about it this way, just to quickly put it. Mm-hmm. What comes with money? What is like the sought after bit of money?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Accessible vagina.
Yeah, I agree with you in that sense.
What the hell's the point if you can't, like, most people are going to say no. And I'm sure I'm going to get roasted for this one.
No, you shouldn't, because there's actually going to be someone's comment that is going to actually corroborate what you just said. But I'm just going to go through some of what people said. So out of the 32 that said that they would take the money, one person said, and this was a dude, he said that he himself would just resort to oral sex.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Now, the thing about that is I put him in the category of people who said that they would take the money. However, I also include, in my opinion, I believe that oral sex is still sex.
Oh, let's move on for this topic before I blow a fucking gasket. I've had enough. Fuck what these people say. We don't know these people. I don't care about these people. Let's move on the fuck all the way on before I really need a paramedic.
Wait a minute. Hold on. There's only four more points I have to make based off of the people's responses. A number of people who said that they wouldn't take the money said that sex is priceless.
Okay, well, they're fucking wording it in some cornball ass way, but in essence, I suppose I agree.
Yeah. There was one person who said, what would be the point of having all that money if you can't F who you want to F?
Bingo!
There was one person who wouldn't take the money. They said, what would life be about then? Anyone who said yes to this never got that good.
I agree with that too.
Crying face. Someone ain't doing it right.
Word.
Oh god. And then the last one I'm gonna refer to is, the person said, and this was a male, and this person said that they would take the money due to the fact that they have had sex with about 150 different women.
Then that's exactly the reason you should not take the money.
Why they wouldn't take the money. Exactly. That makes sense.
You're full of shit. Alright, let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah, so that was just to go back to episode 1 that we recorded. That was just, like, I completely forgot to go, I didn't even get the research, I completely forgot to go into it in our, last week's recording, so I just wanted to bring it up quickly this time. Just to see what
without my blood pressure. Could have done without, my friend.
I just wanted to see your opinion on that. Alright. Now, back to the whole idea of me wasting girls' time at the club. So, I gave you 2 questions a few days ago, which I wanted you to give your answer to. So I'm gonna just read you the questions that I gave you so that the people that are listening know the questions. And then you can give your response. So I wrote to you, the girl that I met at the club, when we first began talking, we discussed mutual interests, mutual people that we know, and proceeded to message each other almost daily. She gave me a compliment, which I redirected the conversation after that compliment into another topic of conversation. I told her that I respect her genuineness in giving the compliment, because I made the joke, don't compliment me too much or my head might explode, and she joked back saying, well, get ready for your head to explode.
Oh, you're a cornball. Continue. This is the most depressing shit I ever heard. Continue.
And I continued saying, females who compliment me, it's obvious as to what they are looking for. And because of my stance on sex before marriage, I can't pursue it with those females that may be looking for that from me. And she told me that she gets where I'm coming from. Now, that was back in April, and we still talk to each other up until this day. So now I ask you, Sir Cody, also known as Boy Wonder, is this considered another apparent episode of me wasting a girl's time? Shoot.
This time you're wasting your own time too.
Let's hear it.
There's nothing more to say really than that. Listen, you've been talking for this long and nothing has materialized, so basically you've just, I guess, gained a friend, and this is another waste of everybody's goddamn time, unless you were both in search for friends, I suppose, which is possible, but pointless because you don't really go outside. So, I don't really understand why any of it is necessary at all.
Oh, God.
You laugh, but it's the absolute truth.
Oh, man. The way your game is, first of all, I'd be embarrassed to even tell me the verbatim shit that you're saying, but since you own your shit, I mean, good for you, but that shit's embarrassing. You got as much game as a fucking 12-year-old. Hey,
you're saying the same shit we would have said back in grade school. I don't know, man. I need Candy on here to go, I don't know.
You're saying that I don't go out or I stay in my house basically all the time when I'm basically going to the club every single weekend. So actually I do not stay in my house all of the time.
You might as well be going to the club with caution tape wrapped all around you. Dressed in a donkey's outfit. I am a jackass.
Okay, so we'll get to the second question. So I asked you, and I'll tell you, when I was a cashier at the former place that I worked, I had a friend of a girl give me her number to contact her. I did not see this girl when she was in the store. However, within 5 texts that I sent to the girl, she sent me a picture of herself. And mind you, this was without me asking for the picture. And she said that that's what she looked like. And these were not normal pictures. These were those I'm trying to look as sexy as possible type of pictures. Not nude, of course, however, provocative type of pose. So what is your stance on this situation? I met a girl, or her friend hooked up in essence of virtual meet, I guess you can call it. The steps that I took in that scenario, is there anything, according to you, that I should have done differently? Because I didn't initiate anything. I met her in a normal setting, also, aka not the club. This was at work. Therefore, what is supposed to happen, if anything, in that scenario?
I don't know why you would give your number. I don't know why you would allow somebody else to have your number and you've never seen them or spoken to them. That's just stupid, friggin' immature, childish nonsense. Oh god, you're gonna get me on a tangent, you really are.
No, okay, yeah, please elaborate.
Events. Let me just make sure I have the sequence of events, like, chronologically correct.
Yeah.
So, the person you actually knew talks to you and basically says...
Hold on. You're completely wrong at the beginning. The person that gave me the number was a customer.
Someone who you didn't know?
Yes.
What kind of fucking stupidity are you doing? Okay, so you need to tell me how, just quickly summarize, because your long-winded shit is taxing on me today. Mm-hmm. That you basically, just quickly summarize how that even comes about. How do you get the number of someone you haven't seen from somebody else who you don't know? This just seems like a whole bunch of dumb shit.
It kind of is, and I understand why you would think that way. So what happened? I was a cashier where I was working. I cashed a girl out. She left, went to her car, came back into the store, gave me the number of her friend, said that she thinks that you're good looking or whatever, and she would want or would like if you contacted her, and then she left the store. That's what happened.
No, I don't play no games like that. If she can't bring me the number herself, then I'm out. So first and foremost, you're dealing with a child, clearly.
Okay.
And I'm not messing with no children. You might be... Nah, I'm not even going to go down that road. Aside from Aside from that, like, I don't think you ever should have contacted the person because this person just showed you that they're friggin' immature in one stance. And while they might have a genuine attraction, the immaturity should have been enough to be like, nah, I'm not really messing with this. On top of that, as per usual, you know nothing is going to transpire, so you're just wasting both of your time yet again. So it's just a whole bunch of nonsense. That should have never occurred. And that's really all there is to it. It's just time wasted all around. Look, when I say time wasted in the club, I mentioned the club specifically because that's where you're wasting the majority of your time and these girls' time specifically. But that doesn't mean that in other circumstances you aren't doing the same damn thing. Like, it doesn't matter where it's at. The club is just where it's happening the most frequently. Uh-huh. So it doesn't matter where you meet the girl, you're wasting her time. I mean, you're wasting yours too, but that's your business. I'm just pissed you're wasting everyone else's.
Okay. So this is the next thing that I wanted to get into, which this one I did not, this point I did not send to you for you to give your, like, to have a response ready, so you're gonna have
Sandbag alert.
You're gonna have to be quick on the draw with this one, which you are good with, articulating your points, like, on the spot, so I would assume
see what you got for me.
Yeah, I would assume this shouldn't be a problem for you. So, this is what I had to, or I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget any of these points that I was making. So I said, because of our varying stances when it comes to how we approach life, this is why we agree on this subject. And then I said, so I gave the analogy to Cody after the show where I said, and this was last week after we did our recording, then I gave you an analogy. I don't know if you remember it, but I'm going to repeat it. So I said, if you ask someone why they are on residence at a school, you will have people that will give the more objective answer, being to be closer to school, to save time, etc. At the same time, there will be people who give a more subjective answer, such as to get away from my parents. And this analogy is for, let's say, a person that's going to a university that's, let's say, an hour away from their house. So they could commute, but if they are on residence, it would save them a lot of hassle from having to commute, as well as obviously saving them time as well. So I said, or I wrote, people make their own meanings and purposes for different things, being a meaning that wasn't meant for what was created. Now I talked to the girl, and this is where it's going to get good. Now I talked to the girl that I met at the club who lives where we do, and here's what she said. And I will pull it up very quickly. All this dead space, I'll just cut it out.
I'm gonna cut you out.
Okay, one sec. Okay, so I told her that I wanted to ask her 2 questions and because I wanted a female perspective on this. So I asked, female/women at the club, are the majority of them looking to meet a guy to hook up with them, whether it be that night or in the potential future? Yes or no? And for the ones that are looking for that, which would be for the ones that are looking for, let's say, sexual relations that night. What do you believe is the population of those women/females in the club? So remember, this is the same girl that I said that I met at the club that I've been talking to since April.
Yeah.
So her response was, so I think that it depends on the age of the girls, to be honest. I think the older ones in my age group to your age group is like 25% of them go to hook up either that night or the potential future. Remember when we had this conversation, do you remember the percentage that I gave?
No, but continue with what this girl said because I'm about to roast the shit out of her.
Okay, let's see. So she said, 25% of them go to hook up either that night or the potential future, but most of them don't. I know a few girls that go to the club and look for a potential boyfriend, But whereas the younger ones, like 19 to 22, are going to hook up that night, like 85% of the time.
So she basically just, if I'm understanding correctly, and obviously I was not privy to the conversation, so yeah. I'm just listening to you read it, mm-hmm. But it sounds like what she's saying is most of the younger group is going for that immediate, and the older group is going for a potential like longer term-esque sort of thing. Right or wrong?
Yes.
So she backed up everything I said, except she bitched out and used some bullshit percentage like 25. Right? Otherwise, we pretty well agree.
Okay, well, she said...
She's a liar. I don't care what else she said. She's a goddamn liar. Listen. Listen. It's as simple as this, okay? This girl is trying to save face. Oh. And I don't really care what her, like...
Hold on.
What her potential level of promiscuity has been in the past or not. And I have no idea who this girl is, so I don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
What I can say is that unless hell has frozen over in the last 3 years, she's full of shit. Because when I was going to the club, anytime from like 19 to when I sporadically went at like 22,
mm-hmm.
There was no part of me that thought this would be a good time without vagina being on the line. Which is why I stopped going with you, because it became a huge waste of time.
Okay.
So now when I frequented it, I was going with someone. So like it was a different like vibe or whatever than going with guy friends.
Yeah.
So I stand by everything I said, and I guarantee you that I am right and she's full of shit.
Okay, so you don't agree with her saying that it's 25% are looking for a hookup either that night or their potential future?
No, saying like 75% of them are doing that. The only ones that aren't are perhaps the much older women that you'll see at the club who are with a group of girlfriends, or even the younger girls at the club that are with a group of girlfriends and not straying from that group. If you're looking at a group of girls that are dancing together and they're like chilling whatever,
mm-hmm.
And you can see that like guys will obviously try to go up to them. And if you see that they stay tight the whole night, you know that they were just there to chill and have fun with their girlfriends and dance or whatever. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But for the ones that are willing to dance with guys, the percentage is way different. All of a sudden, it's like they're for sure willing. Why do you think you can get a girl's number so easy if she dances with you? Like, think about it. Out of all the girls you've danced with, think about proportionally how many you think you could have got their number or how many you have got their number. They're not giving you their number for no fucking reason.
Yes, I completely understand that. They would be giving you their number because they would want to, in essence, get to know you.
Yeah, they want to give you a shot to some degree.
Or as you called it, the feeling out process.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. I completely agree with that. It's the whole idea of the sexual relations that night.
Emma, you're focusing on that too much.
No, because remember, the question that you asked, there was two things. It was romanticism or sexual relations. So I take it as romanticism is more the long term. Sexual
but sex is still going to be involved, so it doesn't really matter. It's like you're nickel and diming it.
No. This is how I was looking at it. Romanticism, long term. You exchange numbers, feel each other out, see if you are, or if you like each other, and then you may potentially get into a relationship.
Yeah, that's how the girl's not willing to play the hoe card right off the bat.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the romanticism aspect of the question that you asked last week.
Uh-huh.
Then there was the sexual relations part, which I took that as they are looking for sexual relations that night.
But Kema, it doesn't matter, because either way you're wasting their time. And that's what it all boils down to. It doesn't matter if it's long-term, short-term, 2 minutes, 10 years. It doesn't matter because you're still wasting their time.
Okay.
And that's what it was about.
Okay. That's not how I necessarily took it, which maybe that's why the argument kind of went down where it went, which we didn't exactly...
No. It went down where it went because you're delusional and you waste people's time and you don't want to acknowledge that you, in fact, waste people's time.
Okay, anyways, the point that you're making about the sexual relations, I have a rebuttal to that, which...
Okay, but hold on. Now understanding how I really intended it, would you change your numbers for it as far as ratio?
For which one?
Like, for both grouped. Because I basically said that at least 75% are willing for one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So would you change that now understanding what I was getting at, too? Or no, are you still saying your ratio, which I can't even remember what it was, but it was much lower than mine?
Yeah, I said, because this girl said 25% are looking for a hookup. I said 30% last week.
Yeah, okay. So now change it, not just looking for a hookup, but a whole, like, either or of the, like, relationship or hookup. Would you change that 30% number?
Oh, for sure.
To?
I'd probably say if we're taking both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say it's somewhere between 70 and 80%.
Well, then we agree. And you are out here consciously wasting girls' time, and we can just wrap this up right now.
No, it's not done.
Oh, no.
You thought this was gonna be easy.
I thought the bow was knotted.
Okay, so that's fair. Because we interpreted it two different ways, we actually agree on that number. Because you said 75%, I would say 70 to 80% if we're combining the two, based off of how I was interpreting it.
Okay.
So that's fine. That's fair. So yeah, she gave me that answer, and then she said, I hope that helps. Then, yeah, then I said, sorry, one more question. If you're meeting a dude at the club, and I said you can either speak from personal experience or in general / people you know, you get a guy's number, what would either your intentions be or generally other female / women's intentions be? So I guess we kind of answered the question, like, from the conversation that we, like, just had 2 seconds ago. But in any case, this was her response. She said, okay, so if a guy wants my number or vice versa, I generally feel them out first and see what type of vibe I get from them. If I get the vibe that they want to take me home, which they usually just say they want to take me home, I don't do it. If they seem like they're genuinely, English. If they seem like they genuinely want to go to get something to eat or talk or whatever, then I see no harm in talking to them and seeing where things go. But I think most of the time the female's intentions are to hook up with the guy. If not that night, then eventually. But like I said, I do have a few friends that go out to the club with the thought that they are gonna meet their next boyfriend there, which they very well might. LOL.
Yeah, so, well, she basically just said everything I just said.
Yeah.
And she can get away with calling girls hoes, which is essentially what she just did, because she is in fact a girl, where I'll get killed for it. But, apples to apples, it's the same damn shit. The bottom line is that girls are just as, like, females in general are just as likely to want what most guys want, and therefore it only makes logical sense for the ratio to be as high as we just said it likely is. So,
yeah, that's fair.
I
can agree with that. Okay, so the conversation continued. I said, LMAO, okay, so the idea of hooking up would come in the form of what? Being in a relationship, oh my god, I can't speak today, sorry. Being in a relationship / get the hookup within a relationship, or is it a feeling out process to potentially hook up with the dude? Kinda seems like a weird thought process. Oh my gosh. Kinda seems like a weird thought process, but hey, I'm an idiot, so I may not know. She said, some girls I know hook up with guys with the hope that it could potentially turn into a relationship. LOL. But some girls just feel it out to see if the guy wants to hook up. LOL. It is a weird thought process, but to each their own, I guess. LOL. So I want you to actually think about what she said. That first thing that she said. Some girls I know hook up with guys with the hope that it could potentially turn into a relationship.
It's kind of like a backwards way of thinking, but yes. I don't entirely disagree. So, like, there is a chance that it does. I have a cousin that is now married with 2 kids, and it started with, a hookup one night from a bar. Mm-hmm. And that it just materialized into something. So it is possible, for sure. But I don't really think it's necessarily probable. But I don't really know because it's not something I ran out and did. So I can't say for certain, but I don't really think it's the spot to meet someone, like, with serious intentions. It's kind of, to me, I could compare it to going on Tinder and wanting to find, like, a boyfriend might not be the greatest idea because Tinder is known to be more of a hookup app.
Yes.
It might turn into you finding someone you find interesting and them find you interesting and whatever, and then it does lead to a relationship, but I think that the probability is less. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a backwards way of thinking, but I do think there's some legitimacy within it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So the argument that I made, or the rest of what I wrote, I said, so I think based off of the last thing that she said, if it is true, we wanted the female perspective, so we got a female perspective, which this is the only response I got from this second podcast that we did. She said, I said, now if a lady's objective is for the one and done, and so is the dude, well then they can pull it off that night and each go their own way. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. However, if what she's saying is true, that there may be girls who do believe that hooking up with a dude will get that dude to like them and potentially start a relationship. It is a possibility that this may take place, the hookup leading to a relationship. However, the other scenario being they hook up and the girl gets left high and dry, I believe that is probably more probable than the former, which is them hooking up and then going into a relationship. What is your thoughts on that?
I'm going to get my Amber Rose on for a second and say that the girls have every right. Like, you saying high and dry, it's kind of like, it's stupid because if you go into something knowing that's the risk that you're taking, mm-hmm. then it's not high and dry. It was an attempt and you failed and you move on and you go to the next one. So I think that it's kind of pointless to kind of look at it as though the girl got slighted. She knew what she was getting herself into and she chose to get into that and she chose to take that risk. So she chose to, initiate it, I guess, and take the risk. So, yeah, I don't really think she's left high and dry when it doesn't happen because, listen, I was talking to a female too about this.
Okay.
Well, now we both know, we went to school with, she was very close with Megan. And she is like, people don't date and hook up, they fucking then decide if they wanna date. And I was like, holy shit, I've been out of the game so long that I didn't even really think of this perspective. And that is likely really the case. And that's why people will find like relationships through Tinder. It's just, you're gonna have to get your like count up probably more high than usual because of the way things have developed and turned in.
Yeah.
So there's that maybe downside if you consider that a downside, or some people probably consider it an upside. That's why so many people do it. And then you go from there. So if that's the way some people are thinking, like, it's crazy to think about, but it's also like, I get it.
Yeah. That's interesting. Cause I never thought that it would ever, like, I would always think that it should be, or it would be, you would start the relationship first and then maybe you start, like, the sexual relations happen after you start the relationship. I never thought of that, like, it happening backwards like that.
That's just I think a large portion of relationships are going to start that way from here on out, and have already been starting that way. But I think a lot more will be going in that direction.
That's crazy.
Because it's crazy to you because you're someone that hasn't done it and you put so much worth and emphasis on it.
Yes, that's true.
And we're living in a day where that's not the majority of people's viewpoint.
Yeah.
The majority of people's viewpoint is, well, let's go from a guy's perspective, is, well, smash, if the box is whack, then I'm not worrying about pursuing this relationship, even if the personality fits well, in most cases. And if it's not, and the personality doesn't fit as well, I'm more likely to give it a shot, just to continue getting the good, as that one individual called it. Which I wholeheartedly agree, and I know for a fact that people would definitely be willing to be in a relationship with, like, I have one friend who was in a relationship where, like, he was only still there because it was good and he wanted to, like, find a replacement before he lost access to it. That's just the way it is, man.
God.
But no, we've ran pretty long this time, so is it time to knot that bow, or you still got a little bit more?
Yeah, just a little bit more. Now, this is just one quick question that I want to ask then. Do you believe, so what percentage would you put it at where you believe that people, let's say a girl has sexual relations with a dude that night when they meeting at the club? What percentage do you put it at where that will turn into a relationship? High or low, or you can give a specific percentage?
I would say there's, like, no more than a 50% chance that that's gonna materialize into anything. I don't even know that I'd put it that high. But again, it's been a while that I've been in the game, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I would have to assume that it's, like, it's not likely, man. I don't know, I just don't see it.
Okay, so then the question that I would have to ask off of that is, do you believe that the dudes then that are in the club would be wasting girls' time if the girls are looking for a relationship, however they are looking for the sexual relations that night in order to initiate a relationship, whereas the dude is looking for the sexual relations that night, yet they are not initiating a relationship with that girl?
No, because it's likely that the girl didn't say anything to that effect. So if you're out here making yourself available sexually to somebody, and you have, like, we'll call it an agenda with that extends past just that sexual encounter, you can't expect them to have that same agenda. And if you do, you're naive. Like, you can hope for the best, sure, and like I said, if it's a 50% ratio or in and around there, then sometimes you're gonna get that, like, that date or two out of it to kind of feel each other out of the number or whatever afterwards. But at the same time, you can't expect somebody to be on your same wavelength if you haven't disclosed your intentions. Which, I mean, there's not really a good time during, like, the progression of a night to say, like, hey, if I come home with you, I want to see where it goes, because that's a mood killer. But at the same time, then in saying that, you kind of have to realize that there's a good chance it's not going to go where you want it to go, and you should probably go about things differently than that, I would say. Not for any other reason than besides the fact that it's just not that likely to work out in your favor.
Okay, so this is what this is what I wrote down. I just have two more. They're kind of long, but we'll try and do them very quickly. So I wrote, and try not, well, you haven't been giving rebuttals, like, throughout when I've been reading, but I'm just gonna read, like, a whole thing and then see what your idea or take is on it. So I said, maybe in the club the idea is to have sexual relations or potential romanticism with someone that you meet, more so than not. this is debatable. However, look at the situation that I was put in with the girl who gave her friend's number when I was at work. And mind you, I have a few girls that I talk to with no intention of starting a relationship, and I'm sure the same can be said from them coming my way. Is that considered a waste of time? Am I to assume that because they talk to me, they are looking for sexual relations? I don't believe so. However, do you know what it sounds like from the stance that you're taking? Because you're saying that I shouldn't be in the club because the expectation is that sexual relations are going to happen, or romanticism. Like, I guess a combination of the both.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is what my take is on it. There will be a feeling out process that has to happen when two people meet, basically no matter what.
Yeah.
So, the way that I see it is, a person that were to meet me, I have my whole ideal that I'm not going to have sex before marriage. It may seem like it is something that is like absolutely crazy, or it's definitely not the norm of how a lot of people are. However, it would have to take someone being enlightened by my position for me to be able to find someone. What is your take on that outlook?
I think that, okay, so I'll try to go chronologically in how you spoke about it there. So, with all those girls you talk to now, with them now knowledgeable that nothing is going to happen, then yeah, it's not a waste of time, because they, if they're plotting on you, that's their problem.
Yeah.
This is no longer your problem, because you've made yourself clear and your position clear.
Yeah.
Where the club is concerned, it's just not the venue, just like Tinder isn't the venue to find a fucking church girl. Like, that, this is just common sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think it matters, but at the same time, I don't really think it matters where with you.
Yeah, because yes, and that's the argument that I was making last week.
But at the same point, it's really not the place there. It's really like, okay, so you might walk down the road and see a girl and speak to her or whatever, and she just so happens to be the fucking light of perfection that you've been looking for forever, that you're never going to find. And that could very well happen. But the chances of you finding that girl in the club is just astronomically, like, against you. It's just stupid and naive to even attempt it, which you don't seriously attempt it. You just, because you're not going in there being like, this might be the time that I meet the girl.
Yeah.
But because that's not your intent, and you're still wasting this time with these girls you know aren't the girl, then that's where the issue lies.
I will take your, I'll take your statement for what it's worth. I have a rebuttal for it, which is in the next thing that I wrote. This is the last thing that I wrote. Is there anything that you want to say with regards to anything that I had just said previously? Aside from what you just said.
No, that's it.
Okay. So this basically now goes into the whole idea of reading people's intentions, which this is what I wrote down for you to give your analysis on. I said, I would like to ask you something. People who go on dating websites, should the assumption be made that some type of sexual exchange is going to happen before each party goes their own way at the end of the night? What is your response or outlook on this?
It depends on the site/app.
Okay, I never considered that.
If you're actually on one that's like in depth and paid for and shit, let's just use eHarmony for an example.
Yep.
Then I would say the answer to that is no. If you're out here wilding on Tinder and just swiping to the right, then probably the answer is yes.
Okay. That's a fair response then. Okay, so I said, this is why your idea of intentions in the club, I do not subscribe to it wholeheartedly. because you're assuming that females are looking for romanticism or sexual relations, whereas I say the purpose of the place is for dancing, and then it could lead elsewhere, being exchanging of numbers leading to a potential relationship or a one and done / one night stand.
And that, sir, is bullshit. So keep your head in the sand.
Wait,
that's not real life.
Wait, what part is bullshit?
The main purpose is not for dancing. You keep saying this dumb shit, and I keep telling you you're fucking wrong, and you keep saying it again. I'm telling you, you are wrong. You know you're wrong. You just want to hold on to hope that you're not wrong. But you know. Deep down, you know. You know damn right.
So what you're saying is we have to assume what things are made for. So let's look at this.
No, shut up. You want to dance? Join a dance class. Okay? What the fuck are we even talking about here? Okay. That's where you go to dance innocently.
Okay. So your argument that you made about Tinder versus an actual dating app. Tinder is made for what?
I'm gonna have to say hooking up.
Okay, now define hooking up.
Sexual rendezvous.
What? Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. We now have to jump the gun on the purpose of what these things are made for.
Stop.
Oh my goodness.
Stop. The club is not made for dancing. You might live in this world where Disney characters fucking exist, but the rest of us are completely knowledgeable in the fact that it is a mingling spot.
Yes.
And you mingle with the intent to find something at some point. Now sure, sometimes you might go to that spot just to have fun with your girlfriends or whatever. But in most cases, you're going to at least be open to the fact that something may happen that leads to a relationship or sex somewhere down the line. If you try and say one more goddamn time that the club is strictly for dancing and drinking, I'm going to ask you if you think that Santa Claus 2 is real.
No. What you just said, I agree with it. Because, Cody, this is what I'm saying. You go to the club, what happens there is people are dancing, people are drinking. Then, what may happen next is that two people... What do you want to say?
What will happen next? Not what may happen next.
No, it's not.
What will happen next?
It's not for sure. What are you saying? Cody,
it's not sure.
What?
Come on, listen. It's just a compressed version of a relationship. That's what the club is. It's so fucking, it's just compressed. So, you go in, something catches your eye. You go over to that thing that catches your eye. You buy them a drink, you speak to them quickly, whatever, you try to catch a vibe off them. If the vibe is good, you pursue it, you go down that road. If the vibe is not good, you move on to the next thing that catches your eye. Done. Yes. The club is basically speed dating.
Yes, I can agree with that. I can agree with that statement.
It will always lead to either someone being cut off and saying nope, on to the next.
Yes.
Or it will lead to a further communication and feeling out process that will likely lead to an attempt at a relationship and a sexual encounter of some kind.
Okay, I agree with that with what you're saying there. But do you also subscribe to the idea that the girl that was texting, I was actually going to go back, but I'm just going to bring it up now. That same girl that I met at the club, she listened to our last week's podcast, and she was saying that there are girls who go to the club just to dance with guys and not take it further than that. So you don't believe that?
I believe that makes up maybe 10 to 15% of the girls.
So the argument now is just it's not the majority, it's a very low population.
Exactly. So it's stupid to assume that every girl you dance with is within that 10 to 15% bracket, which is what you do. Or you acknowledge the fact that they're not in that 10 to 15% bracket and consciously waste their time. Either way, you're a dick.
No. See, first off,
oh, fuck.
First off, you said 10 to 15%. I don't put it that low. I would probably put it higher than that. I would say 30 to maybe 40%.
Sure, and when you go in the ocean, you look for Ariel. But that doesn't mean you're going to find her. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. You keep giving me these naive standing points, and I keep telling you they're naive, and you seem to want to believe that it's accurate. It's not. It's not.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you right now that even that girl that says she knows girls that go to the club just to dance with guys, they are open to, if they hit it off with a guy, going, like, pursuing some kind of relationship with them.
Yeah,
for sure.
That is completely fine. I agree
You're
with
not.
that.
You're not.
No.
So quit wasting those girls' time.
Here is where I have to make, and you're saying that you're not. Perfect segue. This is the last point that I have to make, if I can just find it. One sec. Okay, so this is what I had to say. You say that I am not open to, you're basically saying that I am not open to romanticism or dating. That's basically what you're saying.
In a nutshell.
Okay, this is my response.
Oh, here comes a load of shit.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll see. I wrote, I am open to dating.
Lies.
Not a lie. We have a clear example of this, as I attempted to date a girl last year, and that obviously went terribly wrong, as you know, and I will not go into details. However, it did go wrong.
They all will. And if I'm not a ray of fucking sunshine, I don't know what is.
I'm just gonna continue for you, man. Okay. Okay, so what I wrote next. I would have to try and find someone who may see my take on not having sex before marriage as enlightening and be down with doing that. Yes, it may seem impossible, but I have to try if I'm truly looking. What are your thoughts on what I just said, if you have any?
Well, I think you should be talking to Sebastian and Ariel about this, if I'm being honest. Because
I don't even know who Sebastian is.
And I'm telling you right now that Flounder probably has a better perspective on life than you. Alright? So, let me just simply say that they will all crash and burn because you will never find this because it doesn't exist unless you want to fucking go to the Citadel and then maybe you'll find it. I don't know. And even then, I can't be entirely sure. Now, couple all that with the fact that if you brought home a girl, your parents would have a goddamn, heart attack, no question. So that's a huge obstacle. Your brother's another mild obstacle, not a big obstacle, but a mild one nonetheless. And your living situation as a whole is an obstacle.
Yeah, okay, living situation, I would say that's probably, for sure an obstacle.
Right, and that's never gonna change.
Jason is
No, don't you disregard what I just said. I said that's never gonna change.
What, my living situation?
Yes.
No. Cody, because if I were to get into a serious relationship, I would have to move out.
Well, no shit.
Exactly.
Because your parents would ice you. Or ice her. Someone's getting iced. So, you would have to, but you would not. This is the thing. And you want to know how? It just all boils down to money, my friend. Because you don't like to spend money, and it would be a waste of money for you. And then this girl is essentially costing you money that you don't need to or want to spend. And on top of that, you're not getting any vagina, so that incentive's not there for you. So, I'm telling you right now, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. You might as well just shave your head, bald. Okay. Put on a monk outfit and walk around this bitch namaste.
Okay. I'm just gonna continue the rest of what I said and hopefully...
Oh my god, I thought it was done.
No, it's not done, damn it. Okay, so I said, now this leads to your idea of finding Mother Mary in the club as well, which you alluded to on the previous show. I am not looking for Mother Mary in any way, shape, or form because I am not Father Frank. You believe the club is the wrong place to look, where you said that I believe that I could find a suitable girl in the club more than I could find one at church, correct?
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, I'd say that's correct.
Okay, so for that argument itself, I agree. I should be able to find someone more suitable in the church as opposed to the club. However, do you know what I also believe? I believe that 95%, and it actually may be more than that, of women that go into a relationship would be expecting to have sex within that relationship. So, in my personal opinion, I could be wrong, but I believe that I believe that it wouldn't matter where I would meet the individual. The expectation of having sex is probably still there.
Yeah, but then you're gonna go, once again, I say, you're gonna go into the armpit of society. It's just a stupid notion. It doesn't make any sense. You're like, yeah, 95% of women are out there, and I'm gonna find the 5% that aren't? Here? Aquí? In this place? No.
There's another point that I want to make with regards to that. It's not a point that I want to make necessarily on air, but there's another point that I want to make with regards to that whole notion, but I'll just get to the rest of what I wrote. Now, looking at what the girl said that I met from the club, she said some females may go in having sex to try and get a boyfriend. Some females may go in having sex to try and get a boyfriend. And as I stated, I found that crazy, yet it made sense at the same time. If this were to be the case, dudes would more so than not be wasting a girl's time by having sexual relations with the girl if they do not pursue a relationship afterward. Your argument that you make about intentions in the club and me wasting a girl's time, it can't be true based off of everything I just said. Hence, this is why I say that the purpose of the club is for dancing. And if you want, you can add in for meeting people as well. Whatever happens after depends on where things go. Is that a fair statement?
I'm gonna kill myself. That's a fair statement.
Let me just continue. And if it's the romanticism / relationship realm, a female would have to be enlightened enough and subscribe to the idea of not having sex before marriage for the both of us to work. So I'm gonna throw you a lifeline this time. If your final argument from this is your expectations of not having sex until marriage is unrealistic, you are absolutely correct. You win the argument.
I know that.
The only thing is, that is the standard that I have set for myself. So if it's not feasible for 99% of females, then that just means that I'll have to find the one that it is feasible for.
I'm telling you won't find her in the club.
You're saying that I won't find it in the club. So the question is, where do I find it?
I don't know. You're a sad, sad story, my friend. I don't have the answer for you. But I can tell you that you might as well go to the strip club and try to find love. That doesn't include sex, because it's essentially what you are doing. It's so ludicrous to me that you still, after all this time, even think it's a possibility. Would you ever go into well, first of all, you've never been in the strip club, but let's just put that to the side. Mm-hmm. Would you ever go into a strip club and be like, one of these dancers could be the one? Shut the fuck up. The answer is no. Yeah, you would not think that.
Yeah, probably not.
And while one of them
it doesn't mean that it's not possible, but
exactly,
probably not.
Exactly. So what I was going to say is, although one of them may be, you're never going to know because you think the odds are way out of place for it to be likely. And you would be entirely correct. So what you're doing is just going to a tamed version of a strip club and doing the same fucking thing. Now, I'm not saying that all girls that go to the club are equivalent to that of strippers, mm-hmm. or that all strippers are any type of way. Mm-hmm. But in today's society, sex is a huge focal point. You're not going to find it at the two places where sex is most likely to take place. Or, like, not necessarily at the place, but lead to the sex down the road. So, it's just foolish. It's a crazy notion. It's a naive notion. And you need to start looking elsewhere. I'm not sure where that elsewhere would be, but let's just call it more pure places. Not sure what those places are, but that would be where you should start.
Okay. Now that is the whole realm when it comes to the whole idea of starting a relationship, let's say with a girl that I were to meet at the club. Now, this is the absolute last thing that we're going to talk about, and then we are finished with this podcast, episode 3. With regards to going to the club and just dancing with a girl, which is what remember, Cody, in a year, I will get no more than 2 numbers from girls at the club. So,
great story. Get to the damn point.
So, when it comes to going to the club, you say that me even dancing with girls is a waste of time, or wasting their time.
Yes. Crickets. I like it. I like it.
You like it? I'm just not giving a response. I'm just gonna let the response be what it is.
Which is nothing. So
I'm gonna let the response be what it is. We've gone over this, and this is now 2 episodes in a row that we've gone over this whole thing.
Are we speaking about this? Never again.
Absolutely never. Well, you're gonna hear stories of
I don't want to hear them. Unless you talk about a girl you met at a monastery, I'm not interested.
Oh my goodness. Anything else that you would like to add, sir?
No, I think this has fucking milked this topic to death, so I think that's it.
Alright. Good stuff. Alright, y'all. Thank you for listening to this podcast. This is Conceited Conceptions, episode number 3. Hit that like button, hit that share button wherever it is that you may be watching or viewing or listening to this podcast from. I am Kema, also known as Kema the Dilemma. With me, I have my dude,
Cody, aka the Boy Wonder, aka never gonna get this guy to see clearly.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We're out.